Not everything is connected. It's a strange one to say when you talk about data models, but sometimes you need to have stuff disconnected. Alright lads and lasses, welcome along. Disconnected slicers, disconnected tables, many names for them. Fundamentally it's the same thing, right? It's really time we introduce this to you. Your data model will always have your fact tables and your dimensions, but you're also going to find you've got support data in it. Let's introduce the concept today and carry on from there. So here we are. We've got our New York rooftop drinking water inspection data. When we have a look at it and we're going deeper into it, you'll start to find out, actually, I need to do some things to get it to work for us. One of the nice things would be if I was able to say, I'm interested in seeing what's going on in this particular area here, or in how many issues do we have with ladders for it, and then where were those related. So I thought I'd quickly show you how that's done and really introduce the concept that your data is only part of your data model, that support functions, support tables and support data can do an awful lot to augment your analysis. So over in Power BI desktop, right, and I've done the usual with this. So you'll see in my table list, if we zoom in, you see I've got my calculations table there, right? What you'll also see is I've got a general inspections table. Now, what does that mean? And what are we doing with it? Because this is where you start to get into your disconnected tables. So one thing to be aware of with a disconnected table, disconnected slice, whatever you want to call it, and in this case, we're using it as a slicer to control this. And then from what you pick, changes the value that appears here. So in this case, what we've got is a capability of going in and analyzing actually what's going on. And that's done by having a small table that can then be used to filter the measures that are going to be used. And that filtering is kind of the key to disconnected slicers. You'll also find something similar happens. Let's get back out of here. You'll also find something similar happens when you're doing something like calculation groups. Those support a similar style of functionality. So I thought, let's look at the basic ones, the original ones first. In here, all I've done is I've created a number of measures, and they're under this general inspections. Move that out to the side a little bit. You can see I've got all these measures, and all the ones we're using for there are the ones labeled issues. And you can see we've got ladder access issues, we've got internal issues, air vent issues, all sorts of issues that we might have with the water tanks, you know, and that something's had to be done for them, that inspection to be completed. If they don't pick something, I've said just go and use inspections. What that then leads through to is this table, and the table is really the key because there are a few elements to the table. The first one is just, it's a basic table. So if we're going, we'll have a look at the table, the general inspections table, and we're zooming on it. What you see is I've put in an ordinal column that I've hidden, and that goes 1 to 6, and that's just to order them in that particular route or way the whole time. And I find that's useful to do, right? The ordinal column is also what we use to write the measure. It's easier to write it based on a number rather than having to copy text and do all that sort of stuff. The next thing you need to do is to start to think through what a measure is going to look like for it. And this is where the magic happens, as it were. So if we zoom in, you can see this is the measure that we've actually got running against this. So we've got the area of assessment is the key thing. And then we've got a variable. And the variable is just saying, what is the selected measure on the selected item from the slicer? So we're going to have a slicer. What have I picked? I've picked this. I've picked that. I've picked the other. Right? And it's a selected value, so it will only return one value. That's key for this. Right? So you're only going to have one selection. Can't do a multi-select on it, which kind of makes sense. Right? Otherwise, be blank, is what I've said. You can put a hard-coded value in if you want, but I've left it as blank. The next we've got this switch statement, right? And switch is true, which just says switch, yeah, it's true, whatever, right? And we're going to compare it against the selected measure. So what's the selected value? So with the variables called selected, if it's 1, if it's 2, if it's 3, if it's 4, if it's 5, if it's 6, if there's, or something else, the inspections. And we can see the form of it. If selected equals 1, do this. If selected equals 2, do that. And you can use this kind of a function to do an awful lot, actually. And the switch statement is a very powerful tool within Power BI. And it's one that you can do with a lot of learning about, and you'll still find, oh, I didn't know that. So have a look at it, but we will discuss it more in the future. Definitely in the super user community, we'll go through this in detail. What you then find is because we've got this built, we can then just use it. So I put the slicer on the page. In this case, I've just used the chiclet one. Just I thought that goes better. Otherwise, you've got a drop down or you've got like buttons. Chiclet slicer, I think, is good for this. A little bit of formatting on it, nothing special. But then you pick something and it'll tell you, and it'll then update the measures at the bottom to show actually what's happening. What I've done as well for the map, and this is key, is I've put an assessment here. So we've put a filter on the visual that the area of assessment has to be greater than 0. Right now, it doesn't make sense initially, does it? But first off, it's going to be the number of inspections for blank, which is right. So that's only inspections. So inspections is going to equal inspections. Surprise, surprise. Right? But when I pick something else, if that area doesn't have any records for area of inspection, it's going to be 0. So it'll be an interesting one to see because it'll show you it's not going to be clear straight away what's happening. Yeah. So we hover over Elhurst and we see 40. Okay. I wanted to do it this way just so that you could see the way it works. What you can do is you could change this to actually be the area of assessment value, but I wanted you to see it being used as a filter or an added filter context to help other parts of your analysis, which is key. This is one of the other areas that you'll use this for. What do you think then, eh? Safe drinking water in New York. I'm loving this. We're going to come back. We're going to keep revisiting it. You can see we've put some text measures in to get a nice title there. There's other stuff we can do. I'd forgotten just how good this was. And also looking at it, now we've set this up as a data flow. We've set a refresh cycle on it. When New York adds more data, you'll actually find this will grow. So this could be a really nice tool. If you live in New York and you want to know, is me drinking water on the roof safe to drink? Yeah. Look no further. Geordie Intelligence has got you covered. So don't forget, like and subscribe down below. Follow us on Patreon and subscribe to that and, support the channel. You get access to the super user community, so it's well worth it. And we'll go through in a bit more detail, really, what goes in to making disconnected tables and disconnected slicers actually start to work for you. But for now, take care, stay safe. Ta-da.